you guys? I just want to make this video to show you. I know some other people have made some different videos kind of talking about this game. There's a couple of things that I really struggled with in the beginning. So I guess I'll start with that. A couple things. I'm using a PS5 controller. I noticed that you can use the touchpad at the top. You can kind of make it a cursor, but you have to still click with the cursor and like stuck at these menus. I'm trying to figure out like how do I navigate this without touching my screen. So if you have a controller and you see the little circle here in the middle, if you just hit X and then you just scroll up with the stick, then it kind of grabs and scrolls with you for you. So that was one little thing that, obviously it doesn't mention. And that's something that really helped when you're doing the menus. Like if you're trying to do a contract and you're trying to use this, it doesn't work. And then you're stuck having to, if you have your phone set up on the kickstand, and you still have to get up and scroll. So even here, hit X and you'll see the little circle. It'll kind of go to a half circle and then you can scroll that way. So that was one little thing that I noticed that helped me out a lot. So if we back out, one of the things I really struggled with, let me see if I can find it here. Not that one. Let's see. I think it was the drifting style. So if you see on here, it says from the leader, it's mainly these ones right here. So it says earn 65 XDS points. And like on some of these, I did really well. It was super easy. So I'll give you an example of that real quick. So we'll jump into this one. Obviously not the best, but you can see my scores dropping already. It wasn't a very good run. So one of the things I noticed that, like I said, it doesn't tell you until I noticed right here. If you click on this little symbol here, it shows how you're judged. So on this one, it says the style. So some of them are different. This one says style and it says 33 out of 50. So here it is. Aggression, 21 out of 25. And the smoothness. Now, if you look on the map, I'm guessing the blue line is my line. So the closer you get to that dotted line, and then the smoother you are, and I guess obviously if you're more aggressive, I'm guessing that's what it means, and that's how you get those higher scores. And so for like a week, I didn't know at all what that was trying to tell me until I looked at that. And obviously, if you don't have that metric data, you don't really know how they're judging you. And I'm assuming the way it does that is rather than the older games where you just had a points system where you could just see how many points you got, it can kind of tell how fast you're going. Obviously, if you're trying to stay on that line, then it's going to judge you by your speed, and then obviously by the smoothness, and that'll kind of dictate, so it's not judging the angle or anything else like that. It just knows you would have to be at a pretty aggressive angle to stay on that line and to hold a certain amount of speed. So I just wanted to point that out for you guys. And the next thing I wanted to show you, I know some people have talked about, how do you grind for money where obviously I've watched a lot of videos and people are like, well, yeah, this is how it works. But they don't really give you any examples of like where they go to make money. And so I'll show you the place that I found to be the best so far. And so we'll go back to home. We go into races. I haven't downloaded like all the tracks or anything yet. Some of these, obviously the campaign is, where you take a lot of abuse on your car. So I tried this Kami place. And if you look, it kind of tells you, the touch and go, there's 0 of those, and there's only 2 of the triple zones. And it's those little zones that you make a lot of your money, and that's how you build up your multiplier. So this one has 16 touch and goes, which they only give you 30 points a piece, and you still have to be sliding when you go through them. So they're not ideal. And this track's pretty big. It's a lot of fun, but if you look at those zones, there's just not enough. I mean, you have to travel from all the way over here, drive all the way up over here, just to get a couple more zones. Whereas in previous titles, it was a little bit easier to kind of tell how many points you were making, and it judged you a lot differently. Whereas this one, it doesn't give you a lot of that. So I don't use this track. What I found to be the best, if you go here to Ibizu, if you go to, the East course, you see how it's got 10 and 11. And so this is the one I've just been grinding on, this one, and I can probably make, I mean, in a decent session of about maybe 7 to 10 minutes or so, I can make a good maybe like 17,000 credits, which is pretty solid for this game. And I'll kind of show you what I mean right here. So one of the things it tells you, you hit the touch and goes. You try to hit the zones. You see that speed side change on the left. Those give you get a boost on those as well. And then every green section that you hit, whether it's one of those or one of these touch and goes, that's what builds up your multiplier. And then anytime you get the good angle, that's just kind of like free points. Now you could try to live off those. And see, I missed that other one, so it dropped my multiplier back down to 0. But the speed, side changing, and big angle. Yeah, big angle there. And what I've noticed too is that even if you do a 360, as long as, basically what'll stop your multiplier is stopping the car. You can spin out as long as you stay moving. So like if you miss a drift like I did right there, if I was able to recover that and kind of turn it into a big 360, I would have kept my multiplier as long as I didn't miss that touch and go point. So if you're running through and you're not paying attention and you're wondering why it keeps dropping, that's usually why. So you want to make sure you hit every point on this little track here. And you see I'm already at 1500 and I've only been on the track, maybe 2 minutes. Whereas when you're doing the campaign challenges, you might get 600 or 1100. And you can get that pretty quickly, but like I said, you build up a lot of the strain and stress. And if you're in the beginning, you only got one car. It can get pretty tedious having to constantly repair or having the tires run out. And the touch and goes, you do still have to be sideways from. So if I just drive through straight, it'll knock off that multiplier. So that's what, 2 or 3 laps, and you're at 2,000, which isn't bad. And like I said, once you really start building it up and you really start hitting the wide angles, and make sure you keep your multiplier up, you can make some pretty good coin on it. So I think that's just about it for now. I'm gonna keep grinding until I can get a better car and get some better parts. I know that with the parts, some of the stuff will kind of tell you whenever you're trying to do a body kit or something like that. It'll kind of tell you where you can go to. And then there I was just running the regular tires just because you get infinite amounts of those. It tells you right here. You get the 00. So I don't have any of these nicer ones. I don't even know how you get those. And then obviously front and rear axle, and you pick which one and then change on the right, and that'll swap them out. And then whatever tire you have selected, so if you're playing in the free mode and you have fast lane tires on there, if you just hit change, it's going to swap out more of your fast lane tires. So whenever I'm in free mode, I always use the trapezoids. That way I'm not, there's no real need to, bring better tires when you're pretty limited on, multipliers and everything else like that. Unless you're trying to practice. I know practicing helps a lot for some of the courses. You can basically, if you're struggling with one in the campaign, you can always come to where it is in the free mode and just kind of grind it out that way. So whenever you're in the map, and you're playing and you hit pause and say this is the map, when you're paused, you can go just like this. Obviously use the X button, you can move around, and you can grab this point and it'll say, hey, spawn here, and then you can just spawn right back to wherever the spawn point is for that portion of the track. So if you end up running wide and going all crazy and end up somewhere else, you can always just jump back to a certain section where it's got a lot of good points. This one might be pretty good because this one's pretty short. I don't think I've ran this one before, but it's got 9 and 6. And it's shorter, obviously, so you could probably rack up some pretty decent points in this one. Like this one's got 20 touch and goes, and not much else, but Ibiza seems to be pretty solid in terms of, just trying to grind out early game, just so you can get some better parts for your car, because I know it does get more challenging, and if you're running with the base car, some of the other ones, especially when you're doing the tandems, it's really hard to keep up with those guys. Just because they can run a way wider angle, they can get on the throttle earlier than you, and then it wants you to stay 15 meters or 30 meters within them to get that harder challenge. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, like I said, on the tuning, it'll show you swap in tuning. So if I click on this, the different parts, it'll kind of let you know, hey, if you want this better cylinder head, so if I click on this one, it'll tell me where to get it. But like for the body parts, for whatever reason, it doesn't tell you where you can get them, so I'm assuming that's just like later game to unlock those. So if I click on this and I want to get a better front bumper, it just says none available. So I don't know what that's about. I don't necessarily know. Obviously, maybe it's just like an unlock thing where you just have to get further into the game, because like you see on this one, I can get this one, it tells me how. But some of these, it doesn't even tell you where to get them from. But yeah, that's it. That's all I've got so far. Obviously, as I keep playing the game more and kind of stumble across different things that I find, I'll try to make more videos, and then obviously, when I actually get the car I want, we'll definitely start tearing it up. But appreciate y'all checking this out with me. Hope y'all have a good one. Later.